So we're going to introduce our next speaker. All right. Hailing from Queens, New York, our next speaker has made a name for herself as a regular cast member on MTV's Girl Code. And as a rapper, I'd like to name her songs, but that'll be a little inappropriate on stage, but, you know.
Yeah, and you can also catch her next summer. She's going to be in a film called Crazy Rich Asians, alongside Constance Wu and Ken Jeong. And if you want to watch her now, she's actually on Hulu's Future Man alongside Josh Hutcherson. So, girl, if you want to hook it up, I would like a piece of that pita. Thank you.
All right, let's relax. But before Awkwafina gets on stage, Ray actually wanted to do a little freestyle. Let's go. She's not.
And everyone, please put your hands together for Nora Lum, aka
Awkwafina.
Look at that! There's so many of you guys out here. How you guys doing tonight? Good. Yes. Okay, DJ, drop the beat. Just kidding. They told me I couldn't rap. I have to speak tonight. You guys are doing good. You guys seem like a lively. You seem like you're going to a rap show right now, but especially we're actually talking about like very serious material here. I have a microphone taped to my face, so in case you just wondered that I have a microphone taped to my face. Okay, so I just tell you guys like a little about me, right? Right? Yeah. Should I just drop a hot 34? No, I can't. We get in trouble. Okay, so I go by Awkwafina. My name is Nora Lum. My name is Nora Lum. I was born in Stony Brook, Long Island. Oh, my mic is dropping out. Can I get a wireless? There's a piece of tape. The microphone's taped to my face. So,
Do you want me to take it off?
I don't know. Should I? I feel like it's like kind of a part of me now. So yeah, my name's Nora Lum. I'm a rapper, but before that I came from, I was born in Stony Brook, Long Island to a Chinese American father and a South Korean immigrant mother. So, you know, in that way, my Korean relatives didn't like my Chinese relatives, and my Chinese relatives thought my Korean relatives were super bougie. Like, why do they always go Benetton? So they shop at Benetton. I don't know if you. So you know, I feel like I was definitely pitted in the middle of that. My mom passed away when I was 4 years old, and that brought my grandma in to raise me. And I'm convinced that like a certain breed of child comes from when you get raised by your grandma. It's kind of like if you're a drug addict and like the whole hospital of drugs opens and you know what I mean? Grandmas spoil their kids. So I was spoiled by my grandma. And my grandma was kind of a non-traditional Asian mother in the way that she kind of nurtured the creative sensibility that she thought I had, because I think at a very young age she knew that was what set me apart from other kids. And I don't think if she knew that came out of me losing my mother at such a young age and me maybe using humor and kind of an outgoing sensibility to deal with that loss. I still don't know what it is. But my grandma never said no. And whenever I told her, you know, I want to be this, I want to be like Margaret Cho, my idol, my grandma never said no. She always said, well, you know, maybe one day you can do that. And when I was growing up, I loved music. I discovered rap at the age of 11. I had a boombox that I would record myself onto Radio Shack tapes, mostly doing a Nelly. That song, I'm a sucker for cornrows and parasucos. I would do that song. It was really bad. It was so bad. So that was me when I was growing up. And one thing that I realized that kind of became like a theme of my life is that, you know, I went to LaGuardia High School in New York City for the trumpet. And so that dream was kind of like a dream deferred, because are there any lady trumpeters from Queens? Like, you know, I watched Margaret Cho and that was it. Who else, what other Asian female comedian was there in, you know, 1999, other than Margaret Cho? The only Asian actress I had to look up to was Lucy Liu, who at that time had just done Charlie's Angels, and it was probably the only time I saw an Asian woman pronounced in that role. I would watch Joy Luck Club, over and over again. I had it on VHS, and that movie's a downer. Y'all ever seen Joy Luck Club? That movie is a downer. There are mothers dying, taking opium, babies being lost. It's a terrible movie. But I watched it because that was how I was represented. And I love that movie because it was a movie about mothers and daughters. And it was a movie about empowering Asian women in periods when they were not empowered. But you know, there was a thing, like how could one become an actress if there's no actress out there like me? How could one become a comedian if there are no comedians out there like me? How can one become a rapper if there's no rappers out there like me? And what I realized is that lack of visibility, it seemed like it made my dreams impossible at the time, but as I grew up, that lack of visibility helped me with my career because no one else saw it. And so when I did it, if I did it, I could have done it bad, I could have done it mediocre. People saw it, and some girls like me, related to it. And you know, when I was in college, I went to school at SUNY Albany, not that late, I was like to BU, all right. Went to SUNY Albany, and I studied women's studies, East Asian studies, and journalism, so I was like an overachiever in college. Almost fell out of high school though, mind you. But in college I would sit up late at night and I would work on beats on Ableton and Logic. And then I would think like, are there any other Asian like producers that like make tight ass beats in their dorm room? No. So I was a dream deferred. So how Awkwafina came to be is when I was 19 years old, I was sitting on my bed and I was using GarageBand at the time, the stock instruments within GarageBand, and I made a song called My Vag. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And it was it's a cover of a Mickey Avalon song called, Leave Me the Other One. And that's the song that I made. I was sitting on my bed and I was writing the verses as I was going. And I was 19 years old and I had to go back to college. And so years later, this guy I knew, he might have been a white guy that liked Asians, and like came up to me and was like, hey, I heard that song, My Vag, So it's like, no one heard it. It was only going around in like a small email chain with my friends. Somehow he got it, he was a music video director, and he really wanted to like break an Asian female, you know what I mean? Like he's like, that was like what he wanted to do. He was like, I'm gonna be like, the Dr. Dre of like an Asian female. And so I was like, well, I will be your Eminem. And so we did a music video, and at the time I was working, when I graduated college, I saw my friends. They got jobs at publishing houses, at like really cool art galleries, and like law firms. They were in law school, they were going to NYU, and they were like, oh my God, you're so cool, like I don't do anything. So I got a job as a publicity assistant at a publishing house. And I was really bad, and everyone hated me, and I felt like I didn't fit in. I was terrible at my job. I felt no mental satisfaction. I didn't feel like my soul was satisfied. I literally felt like I was working a job so that I could go to like, a bar later that night and show off to my friends about how dope my job is. That was the only reason why I felt like I had a job. There was nothing that really pushed me toward it. But at the same time, I needed that job. So I was like, I can't do this video because I have this job, and if they see that I'm rapping about that, they're not gonna hire me or they're gonna fire me. So the director was like, dude, just wear glasses. And I was like, oh my God, that'll cover, it's like, get ones big enough to cover your entire face. And I was like, oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, you're so smart. They immediately found out and laid me off. So everything that I remember the talk, she sent me an email, my boss, who was not a nice woman, and she was like, can you not? And I was like, it's already printed, it's already out there. I was basically fired. And then after that, it was a decision for me, right? At the time, the video had about 7,000 views on YouTube, which was a lot for someone who had never put up a video. And people were coming up to me like, what does it feel like to be famous? I had 7,000 views. People were like, oh my God, you're like viral, you're like famous. So I was like, maybe I'll do this. What else do I have to lose? I took a job at a Japanese restaurant. Japanese restaurants, if it's run by Japanese people, they're very strict in the way that they run their restaurants. if you break a dish, the boss will come to you and be like, now, no one gets tipped. So now none of the waiters get tips. If you break a dish or you serve the wrong dish, everyone suffers. So that was a lot of guilt there. I worked at a vegan bodega. Yeah, I don't want to go into it. So I did those jobs, and at the same time, I'll just call it the video because I say what it is, it just sounds wrong. The video was slowly growing into popularity. And so that happened. At the same time, my grandma, would say, like, to this day says, why don't you make another song like my dad, because it was your best song. And I was like, okay. My dad at the same time was like, no, like you cannot do this, you can't do this. Like you have to go and do something really great with your life, like be a mammogram inspector. The person like a meat inspector, an airline traffic control. He really picked like, just, not bad jobs, but not like, he didn't want me to become a doctor. He wanted me to be like a dental assistant, which is fine. I'll go to school for that, that's fine. He just was like, no, you cannot do this. So, he didn't believe it all this time, and I was like, Dad, no, I'm not crazy. Like, I think this might go somewhere, and he's just like, it's not going anywhere. You're an idiot. One day, my dad was at work, and this was after someone had discovered the video, and it got passed on to BuzzFeed, it got passed on to Jezebel, to Gawker, to all these different ones, and then to the New Yorker. And I was on the front page of the New Yorker because the link was clickbait, and it was like, can an Asian woman even rap? That was literally the headline. And of course everyone clicked on it to be like, no. So I was on the front page of the New Yorker. My dad's at work, and he goes on just surfing during his lunch break, and he sees me on the New Yorker. And he goes to his coworker, a young Korean American guy, and he says, oh my God, that's my daughter. And he's like, and the Korean guy was like, oh my God, your daughter's Awkwafina? And from that point on, my dad never gave me grief. Because he realized that I wasn't making it up. And I think that's not to say that like, oh, just get famous, get on the New Yorker, your dad will love it. My dad, Asian parents just want to make sure that they don't have to support you after they die. That's their only wish. I want to die, and I need you out of my house. I need you to stop using my Tupperware and never bring me it back. They still to this day bring me so many rolls of toilet paper. I don't know what to do with all that toilet paper. I have 2 rolls going in my bathroom. And I just have extra luxurious. I use two rolls at a time. And so that's what happened with my dad. And as things started to grow and grow and grow, and from just random YouTube videos, I got asked to do a talk show called Talk. From Talk, thank you. Oh my God, thank you to one person that's on Talk. On Go 90, streaming now. So from Talk, I went to MTV's Girl Code. I auditioned for Girl Code. I was on MTV's Girl Code. From there, Seth Rogen saw the video and asked me to audition for Neighbors 2. I took the audition, I got the part, which is awesome. Thank you. From there, I did an indie movie called Dude, which is a coming-of-age story about high school girls. I was like in my late 20s at the time, which is kind of crazy. And from there, the director, Gary Ross, saw my performance in this little indie movie, and I was the first one hired in Ocean's 8. And from, oh my God, thanks, oh my God. From Ocean's 8, John Chu and Nina Jacobson heard of my name and asked me to audition for Peg Lynn in Crazy Rich Asians. And I did, and I killed it! I don't know if I killed it, I haven't seen it. Guy in Crazy Rich Asians. So that brings me to where I am now. And I get a lot of questions from people like, how do I do it? How did you do it? How did I do it? The way that I did it was that I never tried to be anyone else than who I am, right? Because no one can ever say that you're not who you are when you are who you are. I know that doesn't make any sense right now, but if you feel like you have something inside, and you feel like there is no representation out there, if you do it, you will be the representation, right? You know what I mean? And like, I don't think that I represent every single kind of Asian person, because a lot of Asian people don't like me. A lot of Asian people think that I'm like, my voice is too deep, I'm too brash. They think I have the body of Pikachu, they don't like that. Okay? And then, we have Asian, like intellectual Asian men that is like, I don't even think she's funny, right? The girls that do like me are girls like me. And the girls that like you are the girls like you, right? And I just don't want you guys to be deterred by a lack of representation, because right now we're seeing a change in Hollywood. And that if you ever get there, you have to represent your people the right way. I do that by not taking roles with accents. I do that by not taking roles that treat us as one-dimensional comedic idiot characters like Long Duck Dong. By saying no to those characters, we're saying no to portraying us in a certain way. We're taking our own monologue back. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. And I'm trying to tell you guys, the youths, right? That if you like drawing, if you like mixing chemicals in a toilet to make fake Xanax, pursue your dreams. Because you know what? A lack of visibility helped me. You know what I mean? No one wants to buy a carbon copy of a carbon copy of a carbon copy. They're looking for people who are original. That's the best advice I can ever give you. Just do something that goes against the norm, and people will recognize you for that. And it could take time, right? It could take time, but it might happen. And I'm sorry if I didn't run. I'm really bad at conclusions. I'm really sorry. But I think that I'm still trying to go on and do what I do. I don't think that I've made it yet. People are like, you made it. How does it feel like you made it? I don't think that I've made it yet. And I don't know if I'll ever make it. But I do know that along the way, I'm not going to sell myself out. And I'm just going to keep doing what I do. And I'm going to keep rapping even if people don't like how I rap. I'm going to keep acting if people don't like how I act. Because that's what got me here in the first place, is going against the grain. So that's what you guys got to do too. Okay, bye!